Oh, shifty Schiff is at it again, and the lies just keep piling up. Turns out Adam Schiff knew all about the whistleblower complaint before it was ever filed. His office even talked to the guy directly, even though Schiff said they didn't. But apparently we're not supposed to see anything shady about this. House Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff just got caught peddling a big fat one to the American people. Turns out he knew all about this whistleblower complaint days before it was even filed with the IG's office. I know. Shocker, right? Yep, according to Schiff's own staff, the whistleblower reached out to Schiff's office before he filed his complaint because he was concerned with how the CIA was handling the whole issue. He supposedly just wanted guidance from Schiff's office on how to proceed and get his complaint to Congress. The problem is, Schiff had previously said in an interview that none of his people had spoken with the whistleblower and didn't know their identity.
Do you want to hear from the whistleblower? What protections could you provide to the whistleblower? And then you also said that the DNI is refusing to turn over this stuff, citing a request from a higher authority. The insinuation left, at least for me and others, was that the president himself had intervened. Is that the insinuation you sought to provide? And if so, what basis do you have for making that insinuation?
We have not spoken directly with the whistleblower. We would like to.
And the lie detector test determined that was a lie. Now, according to the New York Times, the whistleblower didn't share specific details of his complaint with Schiff's office, and Schiff's aide didn't tell the congressman the identity of the whistleblower. Instead, they simply advised him to seek out legal counsel. And we're just supposed to take their word for that. Yeah, sure. We're supposed to buy that the whistleblower reached out to the top Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee with alleged dirt on Trump and didn't give them any details about it, and Schiff's people just told him to go see a lawyer, because that's what the New York Times wants you to believe. MSNBC wants you to buy that Schiff simply wasn't clear in his wording, and that the whistleblower wasn't actually the whistleblower, or something.
I want to read the quote again. That was September 17th. Sure. Quote, "We have not spoken directly with the whistleblower." How does he explain that when clearly at that point the whistleblower had come to Chairman Schiff's committee?
So we talked for a couple minutes last night. He expressed regret for not having been more clear in his wording.
What did he mean?
He said at the time when he was saying that obviously, we now know that the whistleblower had approached his staff, but there wasn't 100% certainty that the whistleblower who had approached his staff was the same one who was behind the actual complaint.
What does that even mean? Like we all didn't just hear the words coming out of his mouth. Gosh, America, I promise to lie better in the future so you can swallow my bullcrap a little bit easier. My bad. By the way, in case you were wondering, it turns out Schiff also declined to tell any of the Republicans on his committee about the complaint. According to Rep. Elise Stefanik, Adam Schiff had early access to the whistleblower and did not share it with his own committee. Gosh, you don't say. And calling all of this into even further question is the fact that House Speaker Nancy Pelosi appeared to give the whole game away in a 60 Minutes interview in which she said she, quote, knew what was in the call between Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky.
Early last week, details of the president's phone call filtered out in the press. As some at the Capitol called for impeachment, Mr. Trump phoned Speaker Pelosi to reassure her about the call with Zelensky.
He told you about the phone call.
He told me it was perfect. There was nothing in the call. But I knew what was in the call. I mean, it was in the public domain.
The problem? That interview was aired before the White House ever released the transcript of Trump's call. So how exactly did dear old Nancy know what was in the call if no one had yet seen what was in the call? This whole thing stinks worse than a state fair porta potty on free chili dog night. So Schiff can straight up lie to the American people and say his folks never had any contact with the whistleblower, even though they'd spoken with the guy directly, and we're supposed to just poo-poo that like it's standard procedure? Like, oh yeah, the top Democrat on the House Intel Committee got a heads up about this whole thing and just sat on it. Didn't tell Republicans, might have spilled the beans to Nancy Pelosi, we're not sure, oh well. There's no coordinated effort here. This is why no one trusts the media, by the way. If a top Republican were in this position, every journalist in the country would be salivating over it. But because it's Adam Schiff, there's nothing to see here. Move along. Kind of like how there were no scandals during Obama's entire 8 years. Hillary's private email server was no big deal, something about a tarmac, blah, blah, blah. And who cares about Joe Biden palling around with Ukrainian oil execs? But Donald Trump's phone calls, that's where it's at. Now, I will admit, I've been kind of tight-lipped about this whole story since the thing broke, because unlike most in the media, I don't like to run my mouth until I've got enough information. But at this point, if you are still buying that this isn't any coordinated effort by the left to take down a president they've been gunning for 3 straight years, let me tell you about some oceanfront property I've got in Vermont. It's right next to one of Bernie's 3 houses. And that's your Reality Check America. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube page, like us on Facebook and Twitter, and stay sane out there.